Dominating the skyline of Ruddles Mills is a white frame structure belonging to the Ruddles Mills Christian Church. This year, 2016, we celebrate our 175th anniversary. So what is the story of this church, and who were the people that laid the foundations of this congregation?
The Church of Christ was organized in Ruddles Mills in the fall of 1841 in the month of October. The foundation was laid under the following circumstances. Brother James Fisher was on his deathbed, and being what was called a radical Methodist, by his reading of the Scriptures was convinced of the truth of the Reformation. He sent for Brother John A. Gano, and on his bed of affliction confessed the Savior, and expressed a wish to have a church established at Ruddles Mills upon the Bible and the Bible alone. Willis D. Collins.
The Reformation Willis Collins spoke of was a movement that sought to break down the divisions in the church by uniting around the Bible as their only rule of faith and practice. It was spurred on by revivals that swept across the frontier in the early part of the 19th century. The most famous of the early camp meetings was here at Cane Ridge in Bourbon County, Kentucky. The minister of the Cane Ridge Presbyterian Church, Barton W. Stone, witnessed the revival firsthand, and as a result became one of the earliest and most recognizable leaders of what became known as the Restoration Movement. They worshiped for a while with the Mount Carmel Church until there were sufficient numbers to establish a church in Ruddles Mills. Then the church lingered along through many persecutions from the sects in the world. They were often refused the use of either of the two houses of worship then here. Nothing much was done until the fall of 1853, when the revivalist John T. Johnson held a series of meetings, assisted by Elder Samuel Rogers, and reorganized the church.
Ruddles Mills, September 15, 1853. The undersigned, as Christians, under full conviction of their obligations to the Lord Jesus Christ as the head of the church, have resolved and do this day submit themselves one to another in the fear of God as members of the Church of Christ at Ruddles Mills in Bourbon County, Kentucky. And it is distinctly understood that this congregation is constituted under Christ upon the Bible alone as its divine constitution and its permanent authority in faith and practice.
The following were appointed as elders: Willis D. Collins, Fleming R. Wyatt, and W. A. Stewart. Deacons appointed were Quincy A. Houston, John McNear, George W. Wyatt Sr., and George W. Bowen, treasurer. The church was now in good shape and work began on the church building. By the fall, the roof was on, and in June 1855, it was dedicated to the work of Christ.
According to engagement, Brother Ricketts and myself visited Ruddles Mills in Bourbon County to make an effort of some days and to dedicate the new house. We commenced our labors under very favorable auspices with the assistance of Brother John I. Rogers, their valuable regular minister. We had, too, the assistance of an estimable Father, Samuel Rogers, in some of his eloquent exhortations. In 6 days, we had 30 additions. The meeting continued a week longer with 60 additions. Besides all this, a subscription of some $800 was raised to pay off the entire debt of the house. John T. Johnson, June 20th, 1855.
Over the years, the Ruddles Mills Church has had people keep the history. Willis Collins was the one who wrote down in the old church book the history of the beginning of the Ruddles Mills Christian Church. Arthur Brooks, a former preacher of the church, collected up the documents and had them all published in a little booklet in 1904. In 1940, Doreen Linville put together another little book of the history of the church, which was used probably for the centennial celebration. And so I think it's appropriate that we close with her words.
Descendants of these pioneer settlers, wherever they may reside, are just proud of this heritage of faith and courage, and many will respond to the invitation for the reunion to commemorate the founding and promote the future of Ruddles Mills Christian Church, which came into existence in 1841.